Aloha, this is Santa Surfing. Welcome to Beach Broadcast. Today is Thursday, Q Day, July 17th, 2025. I want to thank you so much for joining us on Locals as well as on X as a subscriber. And so we on Locals, we have lives, and on X, I'm trying to do just strictly lives for the subscribers, but it seems like it just defaults to everybody else. So we'll just see. This week I've taken a little bit of a break from it. If you ever want to find me, go to the links page and you'll see where you can find my videos. I post on YouTube, and then the next day I post on Rumble, again because of technical difficulties, and then my radio stations I'm only posting once. Well, Mr. Boss Man, I'm telling you, he is like the troll master. Things are really heating up. Moren Comey got fired. That would be James Comey's daughter. XRP is dancing. The Clarity Act officially passed it. It will become law. And we got President Trump. He's got a pressure cooker with a bunch of steam coming out. That lid is going to start blowing off big time. A very, 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 very big bill that got passed and is now, it was signed into law yesterday, and it was kind of done very quietly, was the Halt Fentanyl Act. Listen to this.
It's an honor to be with you. Today we strike a righteous blow to the drug dealers, narcotic traffickers, and criminal cartels that we've all been hearing so much about for so many years. And we take a historic step toward justice for every family touched by the fentanyl scourge as we sign the Halt Fentanyl Act into law. With this bill, we are officially and permanently classifying all fentanyl-related substances as Schedule 1 narcotics, meaning anyone caught trafficking these illicit poisons will be punished with a mandatory 10-year minimum sentence in prison. We're joined today by just a few of the millions of families ravaged by this scourge.
This is what we voted for. Mr. President, God bless you. God bless our angel families who are all here with us today.
So today, on behalf of all Americans who have lost a loved one to opioids, we renew our vow to liberate America from this horrible plague. And we'll be getting the drug dealers, pushers, and peddlers off our street. And we will not rest until we have ended the drug overdose epidemic.
Thank you, Mr. President. He promised that, and he delivered. Let's just say thank you. A lot of people are saying, well, they should get life in prison, life in prison. This is where President Trump is going. He needs workers, all right? I think it's wonderful he's done this, but he needs workers. He did campaign that he wanted the death penalty for this, but it didn't happen. And I believe, in my humble opinion, again, you decide, it's because there's going to be such an influx of business coming in. Manufacturing plants are going to be backlogged. Clothing manufacturers, furniture, every manufacturing type of industry, because there's so much money and businesses coming into this country, okay? Remember, I want to share this with you, and let's just connect dots. President of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, he built a workers' machine at the prison system in El Salvador. There's just no sitting around and watching TV or working out with the dumbbells and eating potato chips and watching, doing nothing. He made it a manufacturing hub. Makes me wonder, is President Trump going to do the same thing with the drug dealers, the drug cartels, the fentanyl drug traffickers? Because he says a minimum of 10 years in prison. That's just the minimum. But will they even have like a work program to get them out early? Because he doesn't want these drug traffickers out there. I'm going to play this video. It's from President Nayib Bukele from El Salvador. I'm going to go ahead and play this, but I'm going to narrate it because it is in Spanish and I want to translate it to English. So here is the prison system. It's the El Salvador's prison system, operates based on order, control, and discipline. Reintegration program, the Zero Leisure Plan, is one of the best in the world. Over 48,000 inmates who are not gang members work to reduce their sentences and benefit our society. 6,500 inmates are working in the textile production workshop. Look at all of those sewers, where they produce up to 600,000 garments a month. In the shoemaking workshop, estimates 6,000 inmates, and they produce 150,000 shoes a month. 15,000 prisoners. They work on with construction, and that number continues to grow. And they now have 62 crews going on renovating schools across the country of El Salvador. Another 8,000 inmates are working in different commissions to carry out fumigation for insect control, cleaning missions, hospital maintenance, and reconstruction. Is this over 500 inmates support our agricultural system with irrigation systems protected crops, and they have built thousands to produce for farmers markets around the world. Furniture Workshop, 2,400 inmates have produced 90,000 desks and chairs for schools. In the Appliance Workshop, 1,200 inmates are repairing large appliances and industrial machine. They are gaining a trade, and it continues on and talks about how they even can go ahead and take classes. So they'll be ready for the real world once they've served their time. But this is really incredible. Makes me wonder, is this what President Trump is going to do with all of the drug dealers? Is that what he's going to do, is have them go ahead and do things like this, that they have a purpose? We just need them off the streets, right? And this is the first step. And President Trump is making a big move. Remember, judges have let a lot of these illegal aliens that come in and they traffic drugs and children and people, and they give them a pass, a $50 fine, a little hand slap, and we'll see you in 3 years. Go continue doing what you're doing. No more, right? No more. Now, let's talk about the justice system. Moren Comey, she is the daughter of James Comey. She got fired yesterday. That was the DOJ that fired her. But let's just go ahead and because what she did is she worked on big cases as the quote unquote prosecutor, but she let these big name criminals get away with bigger crimes, right? Most recently was the Diddy case. She worked on the Jeffrey Epstein case, the recent one, and she and only got charged with bringing sex trafficking charges on Epstein. What about the bigger crimes? What happened to the children's lives? What did he build down at the island and over in New York City and in New Mexico? It was an enterprise, an evil enterprise, right? She didn't bring those charges up. Ghislaine Maxwell, she should be serving life in prison instead of 20 years. Diddy got away with literally murder, and he should be facing life in prison, but he only got a few years. So she's not a very good prosecutor when it comes to her dad's buddies, I'm going to say it. Now, again, I could be wrong, but I'm sure they're all connected, because the Democrats, they're outraged that Moren Comey is fired, but you have to ask why. Is it because they'll get a new sheriff in town, a new prosecutor, and the real prosecutor, not a half-wit one like her, had ties to James Comey, that treasonous turkey butt, right? He was horrible in what he did. Makes me wonder, is it because Jay Clayton, a President Trump pick, he's running the Southern District of New York Prosecutor's Office, and he's there on an interim basis for 120 days. He was sworn in on April 22nd of 2025. He takes the role for the head prosecutor until mid-August of this year. Check out this information. It's kind of interesting how President Trump is moving people around. Did that with Ed Martin. Is Scott Bessent going to be the new Fed chair? Because maybe it's going to be no longer, and it's just strictly a Treasury Department. Jay Clayton, he's the head of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. That's where Moren Comey came from. And he used to work as the chairman of the Security and Exchange Commission during Trump's first term. Now he's going to get involved in criminal cases. And it's kind of interesting. I'm going to jump right down here. He has outlined priorities such as protecting public safety, combating fraud, especially against the elderly and vulnerable, and ensuring the integrity of the financial system and national security. His leadership is expected to bring regulatory perspective to the prosecutorial office, particularly in areas like cryptocurrency enforcement, where he has prior experience from his time at the SEC. Interesting. You've got a he's a enforcement for cryptocurrency. We've got crypto moving very, very in a regulated crypto moving. So does he want to prevent any, unregulated crypto again? But more importantly, is he going to start prosecuting the swamp rats? Fake news is losing their minds off of Moren Comey being fired, and they said Clayton should get fired. Well, you have to wonder, why is that? Why are they saying that? It's all in the family. James Comey gets fired. Moren Comey, they both get fired. Both got fired by President Trump, okay, or the Trump administration. So the swamp thought they had a pass, right? Thinking Moren Comey would prosecute them. That's what they were thinking. That's what the swamp followers, the liberals, the whatever, they were thinking, oh, this is great. We're going to have Moren Comey prosecute me. I know I've got criminal referrals, but I'm going to get Moren. It's going to be great. She's only going to get me a hand slap and maybe just 30 days in prison, and I'll be fine as long as I go out in good behavior and make a deal. No, she's gone. Now they're sitting there going, what the freak? Remember, the head guy for the FBI, her dad, told the worst criminal on the planet to go ahead and hammer devices. Listen to this. These are clips from 2016, and then the second clip is from 2018.
The Clinton campaign wanted this report to come out. Why? Because the FBI had an exhaustive year-long investigation. They talked to probably dozens and dozens and dozens of people, hours and hours of testimony. And the decision not to recommend prosecution for her was absolutely unanimous. Was it careless? Yes. Was it a mistake? Yes. As Hillary Clinton said, I should not have done this, and if I ever had to do it again, I'd make a different decision.
But was
yes.
it criminal? No.
It was not criminal.
So I guess that's the benchmark now to become president, is not to be a criminal in jail.
To be competent.
Okay, let's go through the facts.
17,500
emails that she lied about turning over. The server wipe. Within weeks of there being a report that she had a private server, it was wiped. She thought that C, which stands for classified, stood for cookie or something, which stands for classified. She thought that drone strikes are not classified. She said that the reason she used the private server is for convenience, and that she only had one device. She used 13 BlackBerries, let me finish, and 5 iPads. At least she doesn't just stick to either BlackBerry or iPad. This is somebody who is absolutely disqualified from becoming president. They destroyed BlackBerries with hammers in the State Department. That's not what we won the presidency.
Actually, Evan, hold on. Can you fact check that? Hang on, Evan Perez. Hammers, fact check that for me, please, on the fly.
Yes, they did, Brooke. As you mentioned, there were 13 devices, mobile devices, and 5 iPads that the FBI said that, in some way were used with her private email server, and they did, in some cases, just destroy them with hammers when they were done.
Clinton emails saying that you've been asked not to call it an investigation anymore, but to call it a matter. And you had said that confused you. Can you give us additional details on that?
Well, it concerned me, because we were at the point where we had refused to confirm the existence, as we typically do, of an investigation for months. And it was getting to a place where that looked silly, because the campaigns were talking about interacting with the FBI in the course of our work. The Clinton campaign at the time was using all kinds of euphemisms, security review, matters, things like that, for what was going on. We were getting to a place where the Attorney General and I were both going to have to testify and talk publicly about it. And I wanted to know, was she going to authorize us to confirm we had an investigation? And she said, yes, but don't call it that, call it a matter.
Dang, Brooke, she was hoping that the fact checker would say, no. He came back and said, no, it's true, Brooke. And she's just sitting there going, oh, shoot. All right, now I'll get to the fake news in a moment here. But can you imagine an FBI director telling somebody who's got criminal referral on his desk about this horrible person sitting in front of him and saying, well, what you just need to do is you need to go ahead and take a hammer and just hammer those devices, right? And just get rid of them. No. Oh my gosh. It's like destroy the evidence that we would need in order to go ahead and prosecute you. That's what he did. So this guy, he knocks it out of the park by fact-checking. Brooke is like, no, I want you to hold on. Let me go ahead and fact-check this with Evan. And then she's just speechless. They're all speechless. They're all going to be like that. They're going to be sitting there, and they'll be screaming over the next few days because they've been screaming about a certain file that starts with an E to come out. And now, well, I'll get to that in a moment. But who else are they afraid of? What are they afraid of? Why is the fake news freaking out? Oh, yeah, it's because the new prosecutor in control is not James Comey's daughter. The fake news, they did something very illegal. They colluded with the DNC and Hillary campaign, and this came from WikiLeaks. Reporters and networks that have been named in the WikiLeaks to have colluded with the DNC or Hillary campaign during the 2016 election cycle. Now, this is a Q post 1515. It shows a graph, it shows this, and it shows the list of the names. I'll get to that in a moment. Look at this graph, though. I'm going to just kind of enlarge it for you so you can get a better idea of what it looks like. So this is the graph here, okay? And I'm just doing this. Now I'm just going to enlarge it because this is where James Comey's freaking out because his daughter's not going to be prosecuting him. This right here is a special agent in charge. These are FBI agents, guys. Senior special agent, senior special management and program analyst, FBI executive. This is the reporters they're feeding information to. Reporter gets firsthand information on things from the FBI and the Justice Department. How is that even legal? They were all working, colluding to make sure President Trump, at the time businessman Trump, was never, ever going to be elected. They were doing everything in their power, and it did not work. That's why James Comey, and remember, he's already got a criminal referral, and he's under investigation with Wally, that's John Brennan, they're all right now, the 2.0s, because we know the 1.0s got dealt with, they're all freaking out. I wonder if Moren Comey's also freaking out. Again, you decide. You get to decide. This is an account, Real Raw News, does not ever get community noted. You can grok whatever, and Grok's going to say, that they're going to call it a conspiracy theorist. Real Raw News says, we're hearing that Moren Comey, whom the DOJ fired yesterday, is now in military custody. We will publish more on this soon. Okay, you decide. So hopefully Jay Clayton gets confirmed. It was Chuck Schumer that blocked him from getting nominated. So hopefully he gets confirmed officially. That would be great. But today, also NPR and PBS, they got officially defunded today. Bye-bye. It'll be signed into law. Okay, their defunding is going to get signed into law. Guess what? On that Q post where it has all those that colluded or colluded with the DNC and or Hillary campaign, NPR and PBS are both listed as little varmints. I'm just going to go breeze through this list real quick. This is, again, Q1515. There's the graph. Here you go. And then you've got right here, you got ABC, AP Bloomberg, BuzzFeed, CBS, CNBC, CNN, all right, Daily Beast, GPG, HuffPo, Huffington Post, MSNBC, or DNC, National Journal, NBC. Okay, it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Those are a lot of reporters to make sure President Trump does not get into office. That's really the big crime right there. And because of that, he never really had a peaceful transfer of power either. Man, I'll tell you, I feel bad for the alligators at Alligator Alcatraz. They're going to be getting a bunch of crazies going in there. Crazies. Okay, on further news, Genocide Gates, Bill Gates, the trial moves forward. Okay, here he is, this pompous, This is Jim Ferguson in the UK reporting. He's in the Netherlands. He's posting updates on they're not called official Nuremberg trials, but they are ICC criminal court trials. A Netherlands court rejects Bill Gates' attempt to escape justice. The court has officially rejected Bill Gates' desperate excuse that the Dutch law has no jurisdiction over him. This little pompous little dweeb. I'm just going to jump right down here. Gates never showed up. He didn't even send lawyers. Instead, he arrogantly dismissed the Dutch court like a medieval king, waving off the peasants. But the judges didn't flinch. And then I'm jumping up here. The international justice has jurisdiction, and the world is watching. Here's the truth. If you unleash experimental gene therapies on the world, if you help orchestrate a global vaccination campaign, if people are harmed under your influence in your name through your funding, and with his quote-unquote foundation, the development, and how he had mutated 30,000 lives in one country alone, those are crimes against humanity. We all know that. We know that we're dealing with a 2.0 or 3.0, whatever he is. We know the 1.0 already got dealt with, but again, we have to see this all play out. And then they rule that the case against Gates will continue on, will go ahead. Big. So I would highly recommend keep your eyes on Jim Ferguson UK, because everybody's all wrapped up into getting certain lists, and I'll get to that in a moment here. Clarity Act just passed right before I recorded this podcast, so it now will become law. It is a big win for XRP and also for digital assets in the U.S. financial system. Big, big, big. And then now we're waiting for they're going through the vote right now for the Genius Act. So XRP has been dancing. It's been dancing. Guys, XRP has gone up in one day close to 11%. It was in the $2 earlier this week on Monday to $2.38 to something, and now it's at $3.38. Okay, how much more is it going to start to expand? Now the vote for Genius Act is underway. So I'll have that for tomorrow's podcast or the following day's podcast. Okay, so while the left and the TDSers, they're screaming to get release the Epstein list, release that list, please, please. Okay, SCOTUS ruled. These are the things that happen while they're screaming. There's still a lot more to this list that I could add, but I didn't. SCOTUS ruled to defund Planned Parenthood. SCOTUS ruled to downsize the Department of Education with firings. They're going to lay off like 1,300, 1,400 people. They can't force their woke agenda on your children or your grandchildren or your nieces or nephews, and they want the education to be brought to the state level. President Trump promised that, and now he's delivering. The Genius and Clarity bills, they passed, moved forward. Now they had to get passed to become law. The anti-CBDC bill passed, meaning no CBDC. Again, it moved forward. It has to become law. And then the anti-fentanyl bill passed as a law. Traffickers of fentanyl face 10 years in prison. Again, this is all while the TDSers and left, they're screaming for the Epstein list. The DOJ fired Moren Comey. That was big. I just shared a lot about that. Adam Schiff has a criminal referral, and Schiff is pretty mad that Moren Comey got fired. Yeah, because he was sitting there going, oh, good, I'm going to go ahead and get prosecuted by Moren Comey. I don't think so, right? Or her cronies. XRP is on the rise. Liberal NPR, PBS got defunded. That should be signed into law by Friday. Bill Gates is now facing ICC. There's no way out. So much as more is going on. It's really awesome. Try not to go squirrel. Trump is on a mission, needs us to stay focused, laser focused on all the great things that are coming. And that's where we are right now. We have so many wonderful things going. If we're screaming for something, yes, the Epstein list is going to take down governments. It's going to expose so many big things, monarchies, whatever. It's going to be huge, massive. And then President Trump, does he step in and say, hey, I'm the only one that never did anything, so I get to go ahead and rule the world? Wouldn't that be incredible if that kind of announcement came out? But again, he's just trolling the left so much that they're going crazy in their head. Let them go crazy in their head while we go ahead and focus on other things. They might be missing out on opportunities. And I try to keep you up to date as quick as I can with things that happen. So I'll do the best. I mean, things are going to really start moving really fast, but this is a really, really good and a very big week, and it's only Thursday. So we still have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is really rolling into next week. So let's see what God's got planned for us in the meantime, as the world turns for the better. Take the time out to spend it with God quietly. If you're at work, maybe you have a little lunch break or a little break room that you could just take the time and hear his voice and just thank him for everything that's going on and what's happening. And just know that he will bless you so abundantly. Even though you might be struggling, you still made it, right? You still survived, right? Let him keep telling him what your needs are, and then just build this relationship. That's what he wants from us more than ever, right? So I thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I thank you so much for working together and making this all happen. Had it not been for all of you, none of this would be happening. And I just want to say thank you. And President Trump, he recognizes you. He's pointing at you all the time, and he's recognizing the real MAGA. And he's also asking us to hold the line. So we know there's going to be more of a fight. But we know we're ready, right? It's not like we haven't been there before. But always know God is always, always, always there for you. So please keep your eyes and your focus on God. And he wants you to focus on good things. So write down what your goals are. Write down what humanitarian projects you want to work on, and make it happen. God bless you so abundantly. Thanks so much for listening to the show. And I will have a show very, very soon. Aloha.